A huge part, and relating this back to just suicide prevention and mental health support specifically, is defence is fantastic at indoctrinating people into service and issuing them with an identity that puts their personal identity subordinate to that of the collective identity of the group, and also provides them with a purpose that is able to motivate them at the intrinsic level. Just like we deploy our servicemen and women overseas and we take them through such mature cultural training to understand the human terrain and the nature of the environment we're going to go into, we don't sit down and explain to our defence personnel that life outside of the Defence Force doesn't hold those same values that you are instilled and held accountable against each and every day via the system, by yourself and by those you serve with, as it does in the Defence Force. And they find themselves within looking for careers that they're looking for purpose as well as personal profit to survive, and are unable to achieve that sustainment and personal fulfilment. And when they transition, one of the first things we do is we get them to hand in their identification card. The amount of veterans I've spoken to, and I know myself included, driving past the Gallipoli barracks here, you long to be able to go back onto that base, just to be able to go and work out at the gym and be around people. You long to be connected back to that community. And this is one of the biggest issues, is when we transition veterans, they lose that connection. And it is that moral connection back to that tribe. And by going from the Department of Defence to the Department of Veterans Affairs, you're asking this person to manufacture a new connection to an organisation where they then have to be their most vulnerable. And finally, for the first time in their life, having to put themselves first, usually at a time when they are the most vulnerable because they actually need to receive medical treatment, or they've been stuck in this further perpetuation of their identity being defined by how many incapacity points they deserve, how much compensation they deserve. None of these are any of the character traits that are instilled and were essentially the best version of themselves, as too much of us find ourselves comparing ourselves to. And it perpetuates down this new mindset that, particularly given the protracted nature of how long claims come, the people who don't fully understand the unique nature of service and try to manufacture empathy with veterans, and builds an adversarial process. And it's psychological warfare 101. Expose someone to something for long enough, it's going to have an impact on them. And when people are then spending 1, 2, 3, 5 years engaging with a claims process that ends to develop this psychological indication of their own personal derived value given the demerit points or the financial compensation they receive as a measurement of success, then that's what they become. They become their grief. They become their trauma.